Well, welcome, welcome to another Notepad Sports Talk with Steve and JD. Um, we got kind of a special segment here. Obviously, it's something we have to cover because it's such big news, and that is going to be the whole Ohtani signing. 10
Yes,
years, $700 million. It is a monster contract.
definitely is. So this contract has made him the highest paid athlete in the world. So prior to that, there were two soccer players. Well, Mike Trout, but there were a couple of soccer players. Was it Cristiano Ronaldo or
And
Lionel
Messi,
Messi?
yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those two guys. But I would say their contracts were huge, like for those two soccer players, because they were like 600 mil, 500 and something mil, whatever it was. But those soccer players also got that over 2.5 years or 2 year contract. It wasn't
right. Yeah.
right. So it wasn't a 10-year deal, but as far as the signing of the contract and what they're getting, Otani's total number is the largest ever. So we had talked, I thought he would be it was going to be over 500. We all know he's not going to be pitching next year because of the Tommy John surgery. But that doesn't matter because the kid can hit, right? I mean, he's the two-time reigning AL MVP, right?
Well, the only player in the
no,
history of baseball to be
yeah,
unanimously selected.
that's
MVP.
correct. He was unanimously selected twice. So and I call him a kid because he's 29 and I'm 50, so everyone's a kid, I guess. But I'm telling you, like, that was a game changer. That contract's a game changer. Now, there's still obviously a lot of details about the contract that have not been released. The wording was, unprecedented deferrals in the contract,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right? So I had saw something and I sent it to my brother. It was like 9 years of getting paid out at $1 million. I guess that's a possibility, but
I don't think there's any way that's happening.
There's no way, right? And then deferring it in year 9 to make a $691 million contract? No. Unless it's restructured and he gets paid for decades. Right?
Well,
it would be a Shohei Ohtani day instead of Bobby Bonilla day. It'd be Shohei Ohtani day.
No, that's what it's going to be. I 100% believe that. So
yeah.
Right now, again, nobody knows. This is all speculation, and anybody that tells you different is lying to you. But
absolutely,
right now, what most people are thinking is most likely to happen is the contract would be somewhere in terms of like they'll be paying them, say, 40 to 45 million a year, something like that, right? So over the course of 10 years, that's 450 million, and then they'll owe them the next whatever's the remainder of the contract over the next 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, whatever it's going to be. But now, one thing that is actually interesting is now they have a couple big money players on their team already, including Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and like Betts, I think contract's $206 million, and Freddie Freeman like $162 million. But they're both deferred too, as an FYI. Like Freddie Freeman has $57 million in deferred money. So this is not like unprecedented for the Dodgers to do, but it's going to be unprecedented in terms of how much money this actually is going to be for Ohtani because of his monster deal of $700 million. But here's what I'm not a cap guru because the way they do contracts in all sports can be a little confusing. But here's what I read. So as we all know, this past season in 23, the Dodgers dumped a lot of cap in the attempt to get ready to sign Ohtani. They were all in for a couple of years now. That's what they're waiting for. If Ohtani's contract is what was speculated as, like, say, $45 million a year, he doesn't get paid for, that actually counts, towards the cap, which there is no cap in baseball. We keep saying the word cap, but it's not really the cap, all right? But
Right.
they call it the CBT,
Competitive
balance tax.
Balance tax. Yeah. Competitive balance tax.
So so whatever goes towards that, right? Then they'll get taxed. It's not just additional money they get taxed, but they can also have draft picks like taken away or changed or moved around, all that kind of stuff too. So it's kind of a big deal. So if it is that $45 million a year that counts towards the CBT, from 2022 numbers, they're 50 million underneath of where they were at previously with their CBT. 50 mil. So that allows them to sign quite a few players for 50 mil a year. The highest they were, as far as like for the CBT, was $75 million more than what they're currently at. If, again, presumably Ohtani's CBT hit is around 45 mil. Right. So what this now? This is my speculation. Again, this is what I believe is going to happen. And when I say I believe it's going to happen, it's not just like, hey, it could happen, or it might make. I think it will happen. All right, and there's nothing to go off of besides just my gut feeling. That's it, just my gut. All right, so when we first heard about some of these players over in Japan coming over to get posted, of course, Yamamoto is the big prize. And Yamamoto mentioned that he would like to play with other Japanese players over here in America. Now, of course, there's some there on the Cubs. You got Boston, and among others. Like Detroit even has Maeda now. But who wouldn't want to? What Japanese player wouldn't want to play with Ohtani? Considering Ohtani is almost like a god in Japan, right? So I think Yamamoto is eventually going to sign with the Dodgers, considering they have 50 mil, underneath the CBT from what they were previously at. And who knows, maybe Ohtani can even talk to him about, again, making deferments as well for himself or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Yamamoto goes to the Dodgers. I think it's a fit for both. Yamamoto wants to play with Japanese players. Ohtani's a star. Dodgers need pitching. Yamamoto's the best pitcher available. And I think that Ohtani would also push for Yamamoto because I believe that Ohtani thinks that Yamamoto is such a good player that, again, Ohtani wants to win. So I just think it's gonna happen.
Plus, I think it helps, having the World Baseball Classic, the two play together.
Right. Well, I mean, him. It wasn't just him, right? Like, if you look at, there's a bunch of other players right now, like Shoto Imanaga. He was on the World Baseball Classic, and even Yuki Matsui of the Golden Eagles, right? Like, he's on the market as well. So I would not be surprised, and then there was that report that came out. Nobody thinks it's actually going to happen, but Roki Sasaki wanting to be posted. That dude is amazing. I would love to see Roki Sasaki come to the Major League Baseball. I think it'd be great for the game. But anyway,
he's the one that was. He's the one that was he's 22.
Yeah,
and he's still they were talking about how they thought he might have put a clause in that contract for the Japan
similar
thing to get out
Ohtani.
early. Yeah, similar to Ohtani's.
Now, I know what everybody is saying about that and why they don't think it's going to happen. One, I don't think the team's not going to want to do it because it's really all about the team. The team's going to lose out on a ton of money, right? The player, not so much. And here's why I say that, right? Right now, he's making roughly $600,000 in Japan. He's going to make $4 million minimum a year here in the U.S. at a minimum. All right. So over the course of, say, 4 years, he's going to make 16 mil versus 2.4 mil. So if he comes out as a free agent later on, gets posted, then yeah, he'll get more money then. And so would the team. But like that's in the future, right? Think back when before the whole nil deals in college football. A lot of people said, "Hey, if you're good enough to go to pros, you take the pro contract because you never know if you have a career-ending injury." Right?
Correct.
So, isn't this kind of the same thing? I mean, either making 600,000, the equivalent of 600,000 in Japan, or coming over at least making 4 million a year, right?
Yes.
Like, get it while you can, and then
Correct.
when he becomes a free agent, and at 26, 27, he'll still be a free agent earlier than most, and for Major League Baseball, and then get your huge contract. Like, I don't know. I just think it's more. I think it's worse for the team. But again, who cares about the teams? I'm all about the players. I'd love for him to come to Major League Baseball, and I don't think he'd lose too much for doing it either.
Yeah.
He's going to get that big contract, whether it's in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. He's going to get that big contract. And until that happens, he's going to be making more money in the professional league in Major League Baseball than the NPB. So,
yeah. But yeah, so it was a huge thing because we were with our family yesterday doing our Christmas gathering, and we're sitting. I'm reading it off his watch because I didn't have my phone in my hand at times. Like, oh my God, look at this! And he says, "How much do you think it was worth?" And I was like, "I don't know, $625." He's like, "Nope, 700." Right, $700 million. Right. So Ohtani is making. That's kind of what I got. He was making about 70 between payroll and endorsements with the Angels. At least that's what I was reading. I don't know if that's exactly right, but they said he was somewhere around $70 million a year. So with that's obviously going to go up. He's going to be staying in LA, but the Dodgers are they're just they're a bigger brand is what I guess is the word I want to use.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. So they're a bigger brand. So like the endorsements are going to get increased, right? So he could be making easily between payroll and endorsements at this point, where $100 million a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
$100 million a year, and you and I have talked. To me, he is so worth it, right? Because even let's say in 5 years he doesn't ever pitch again, right? And all he does is DH. The rules have changed, so it's great. So not every team, National and American League, can they use the DH. He could do that and not ever have to play the field and just go out and hit and do what he does. Part of what he does best, right?
And
at that point, I think he'd still be worth the money. Yeah.
Right. So, again, Ohtani's like a god in Japan.
Yep.
So, all the games will be broadcasted in Japan. So that's more like TV contract type of deals.
It's more revenue.
Yep. Right.
Yep.
And you're going to be able to sell potentially more advertising for Japanese companies in Dodger Stadium. That's a possibility. You have, and then just as much as, you can't really do they sell out almost every game for the year anyways, but they're already increasing some ticket prices.
I was going to say, whether they're selling out or not, ticket prices are going to raise. So ticket revenue will increase because of that.
It right now, the secondary ticket sites online has already had the seats, the average price from going from $228 to $359, right? And the seats behind home plate, and these aren't playoff seats. These are regular season tickets. These aren't suites. These are just seats. behind home plate going for $3,500.
Yeah.
Insane, man.
Right. Well, that's where I think baseball is different than other sports, right? Well, like football has a salary cap, right?
Yeah.
So, when rumor came, or when it wasn't even a rumor, when Patrick Mahomes signed his 10-year, $400 million contract to be making $40 million a year, like that's a huge cost to a team when you're, have to stay under 250 million or 300. I forget what the cap space is now, but right, but that's a huge chunk of your money that you're putting into one player. Now, it is Patrick Mahomes. It was a quarterback position. It's a huge position, right? But baseball is just different, where they don't use the cap and they do it by tax. It's like a luxury tax based on, and they're saying, okay, well, you went over this, so we're going to take away this draft pick, right? So it allows that to balance so that teams don't just have $700 billion, payrolls. Because I think the Red Sox had the largest payroll last year at $337 million, I think it was, is what the Mets had for their payroll.
So right now, like with Yamamoto, because we're talking about Yamamoto too, kind of,
Yep.
he's looking to sign either, like, say, a 9 or 10-year deal, upwards of maybe around $300 million. So that's 30 mil a year, right? Unless something gets deferred. And but like this guy, he's like, as far as like what he's able to do, this last past year he went 17-6. His ERA was 1.21 with a .86 WHIP. He had 176 strikeouts, like 130 innings. The guy is for 3 years in a row now. He's won Japan baseball's equivalent of the Cy Young. The guy is he's going to be really good. Like, I think Roki Sasaki is probably a better pitcher than Yamamoto, but as far as like this year right now, Yamamoto, he's a frontline starter, and they don't come around very often, especially at 25 years old. So, yeah, Yamamoto is going to be highly sought after, which we already know. But what do you think? Do you think Yamamoto would be persuaded by Ohtani going to the Dodgers? Because I think you have to kind of assume that Dodgers would already be kind of like high in his list, because just like a lot of other Japanese players, West Coast team, right? And
correct.
You got those
Less
players that signed previously with the Dodgers too, right?
Yep.
But previous Japanese players. Like Hideo Nomo, and I kind of seen how Nomo was treated with the Dodgers, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that makes sense. I think Ohtani put those deferrals in place so that he could, because he wants to win, right? So in only to do that, he's like, well, let's go get some of the good players. Well, this guy, sure, I think that he could persuade Yamamoto to say, come to the Dodgers. This is where you want to be. Right? So, absolutely. I absolutely think that he's going to be in his ear. At least giving him advice about the whole process now that because Ohtani's now been through arbitration, right? And now he's moved into the next phase where he's gotten his first free agent contract, right? Yamamoto, right. He understands that process now, moving through those having done those wickets already. So it's obviously somebody that Yamamoto would want to hear from as far as what to expect. So absolutely. I absolutely think that, once Shohei signed that contract, I think the odds for Yamamoto going to the Dodgers increased, 15%, right? So I'd say they're about a 60% opportunity for him to sign right now, if I had to guess. Not that I know any of those numbers. I'm just giving you, throwing something out there. But that's he. The Dodgers are probably his number one target.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. Obviously, you know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Cubs, Yankees, Red Sox,
The Red
even
Sox.
the Phillies, right? Like I wouldn't. I mean, the Phillies,
Yeah.
they got a good team.
Yeah.
I think the Giants missed out on Ohtani. I think they'll be trying to get him. Toronto missed out. I think they'll be trying to get him.
Yep. I,
Um,
I think the Rangers, as the reigning world champs, and as a young team that has a great young core, may have an opportunity to get a guy like that, right? To help bring somebody into their starting pitching rotation
mhm.
and continue to have that growth, right? And get back to the World Series again. So
I, I
I
kind of
wouldn't
think,
I wouldn't leave them out. Maybe even Arizona, because you talked about Arizona. I know it's about market value too, right? As far as what they're going to be able to pay, right?
right.
But if you're also as an athlete, I think about, okay, where am I going to go and help a team be more competitive than they already are, right? So that's where I think those small market teams like an Arizona Diamondbacks might have an outside chance, right? Because they were there. They're young. They're moving. They're doing things and stepping in the right direction. I think the Rangers, even though they're not, the Rangers paid big too, right? For Alex Rodriguez, remember his contract? I mean, it was a long time ago, right? Before he went to the Yankees. But he had a huge contract by the Rangers to try and get, help build that team. So I think they're not out of the realm, right?
I think the two most likely though is probably going to be the Dodgers and the Mets. Now we have to remember the Mets right now has the wealthiest owner in baseball. He can make things happen. Plus, last year he sold off Verlander and Scherzer, right? Like he sold, and so he made a lot of room on his payroll. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in strong with a huge offer to Yamamoto. And they did have Singa last year. That he was how he was handled. He did really well in the transition from the minor leagues or minor leagues. Geez, I'm sorry, from Japanese over to professionals. So
Mm-hmm.
again, Yamamoto might be persuaded by something along those lines too. A whole bunch of other teams, I can just see a lot of negatives surrounding those teams. Um, but I think that's probably the two most obvious landing spots. I think is going to be the Mets and the and Dodgers. When you're looking at need for the team, the means to sign them, and what we know about Yamamoto and where he wants to go as far as playing with other Japanese players.
Yeah. So
So that's kind of what I'm
yeah.
thinking. Now, I know this is more about Ohtani, but I did want to throw something in there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Um, and that is Jung Ho Lee. During the World Baseball Classic, I was really impressed with Lee. I liked him as a player. I liked the way he would hit the ball. I was very impressed with Lee. Now, there's been rumors that the Tigers have a lot of interest in Lee, and I think that he fits what the Tigers organization are looking for to a T. What I mean by that is he has he has a good hit tool. He gets a good hit tool and he gets on base, right? So he doesn't strike out a lot. He gets on base a lot, and he doesn't have a lot of like huge power in his bat. Like in 2022, he had 23 home runs, which is acceptable. but not a ton, not like 30, 40, 50 home runs.
Right.
Last year in 86 games, he only hit 6. But again, he still got on base at over 40% of the time. So his he does not strike out much at all. So I am I'm thinking that the Tigers are going to go after him pretty hardcore because he fits what they need. And then on top of that, another player that I think the Tigers will go after is going to be Shoto Imanaga. He's kind of on the shorter side, but he can still reach into the 90s. Plus, he's a lefty. And as we all know, we lost one of our lefties, Rodriguez, already. So, and Rodriguez signed with Diamondbacks. So we have, which is a good signing for them. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But yeah, so we now Imanaga is expected to get around 85 million 5 years. So that's like 13 million a year. Whereas Lee's expected to get somewhere around 5 mil or 5 years for 50 mil, 10 mil a year. So that's only 23 million added on to their payroll for two guys that could be kind of like long-term starters for the Tigers.
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to get one or both. It'd be nice if they got both between Imanaga and Lee. But anyways, I just want to throw that out there because we're kind of talking about Yamamoto as well as Ohtani and all this kind of stuff going on. But I want to update anybody in case they're not really paying attention to the market and that's one of the reasons why they brought in Maeda. If you listen to the the GM and everybody talking about when they signed Kenta Maeda, he was brought in as a veteran Japanese player in the majors to try to help the Tigers get some more Japanese players to sign with their team. And they're not just doing this as far as Japan goes. We heard earlier this year that they upgraded their Dominican Republic facilities because they're trying to increase their chances of landing some top names, internationally, just in general. But Maeda is a part of that to try to reach out to the Japanese players because outside of Major League Baseball and you have two really big hot spots for to get players from. That's the Dominican Republic and Japan. So, and they're trying, trying both places to get as many international free agents as possible. So we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping at least one of Imanaga or Lee gets to come to Detroit.
Oh, that'd be good for Detroit. So, but yeah, with the Ohtani thing though, I think good for him. I think it was good for baseball.
It's very good for baseball,
right? And to me, with where the season ended to now, he wasn't a free agent a very long time, right? It just this came together. I thought pretty quick. I didn't think we were going to see a signing until January or closer to January, but and then because I know February, March, things kick off for the new league season.
Catchers report, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I guess when you think about where baseball ends and then where it's at, it was a good amount of time for him to, sit back, figure out what was going on, have doctors look at the elbow so teams understand exactly what they're getting when they're getting him, as a pitcher, because they already know what they're going to get him as a batter because he was able to hit through the rest of the season.
Until he hurt his back.
Until he hurt his back. So, but, everybody knows what they're going to get from Shohei because as far as he's probably been one of the most consistent players over the last 3 seasons, at least, that the MLB has seen.
Yeah, I mean, the MVP in 21, runner-up in 22, and then MVP again here in 23. That's huge.
Yeah. And honestly, we all know the only reason he lost last year It's because Aaron Judge broke the home run record.
That's it.
I should say the only reason, but that was a huge factor in why I don't think he got that MVP last year.
I think that's the only reason. I think if Judge hits 59, Ohtani wins.
Yes. And now he's a three in a row, 3 consecutive AL MVPs.
Not Ohtani, no.
No. He would have been had he won last year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard you then. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Had he won last year, he would have been, 3 in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And I don't know if that's ever been done. I don't even know if you've ever seen 2 in 3 years. Honestly.
Yeah.
Just again, he's been super consistent. He came back from a Tommy John surgery already, and he played how he did over those last 3 seasons. I just think that you know what you're going to get in him. He's a competitor. He's going to come out. He's going to help your team. And you could already show, based on the fact that he had all those deferrals built into his contract, that he's not just about himself, right? He is about the team. About the team and about being competitive and wanting to win championships.
Yeah, 100%.
So, that just to me shows a lot of the maturity as a ball player, and I think Magic Johnson said it best because he's a minority owner of the Dodgers. He's like, "Welcome to Dodger Blue." He says, "And thanks for coming over and leaving." Like Magic Johnson, one of the biggest names in professional sports, was like, "This guy, thank you. Like, you're gonna make us better."
Yeah.
Right. So, it's a big deal. It's a big signing. It's kind of like it's the biggest chip that was on the table, and it's already gone. Right. So now, where do MLB teams move next? Right. And you talked about some of the other Japanese players that are trying to get over here. So that's going to be the next big. I think those will be the next big things. The Yamamoto signing will be next. That'll be my guess.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the next big one to fall, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you have other big names, besides, of course, Ohtani and Yamamoto. Like a big one's going to be like Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger, Aaron Nola. You got Sonny Gray, Jordan Montgomery. So there's a lot of players now that's currently a free agent. That's big. Hater. That's the guy I couldn't think of. Hater. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of players out there right now. So we could see some of these, start signing now, especially some of the pitchers, because now the market's kind of been set. So you're going to start seeing kind of some flurries. So anyways, oh man, I'm trying to see, because I could have sworn I seen someone sign today and I couldn't remember, but oh well, that's fine. But anyways, it's like you said, it's good for the sport because now that we have Ohtani signed, he had this record-setting deal. We're going to be able to see a lot more. There's going to be a lot more eyes on baseball because again, Dodgers is a bigger market than what Angels was. It's going to be on TV a lot more often. And that's just good for baseball in general when it's seen more often. So, anyway, I don't know.
One of the big things we didn't talk about the Soto trade to the Yankees.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But again, that's just some of the things that are happening. You talked about Eduardo Rodriguez signed with the Diamondbacks. The Yankees got Soto along with outfielder Trent Grisham. When they traded for the Padres got Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and a catcher Kyle starts with an H, ends with an A.
Higashioka. Higashioka.
It sounds more of an Asian last name. Right?
It is. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the first name I wouldn't expect a Kyle to be, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that's probably.
Higashioka.
Oh, well, there was a Red Sox Yankees trade. That was early in December, but anyway, there's going to be a lot going on, so we're going to try and keep up with this too. As big things happen, we'll kind of throw in a little bit of baseball, because sports in general never ends. There's the regular season, and then there's the off season, and off season is just as important as the regular season, because what you do in the off season is going to determine what you're going to do and be a predictor of your next end season. So
right. But yeah.
We've been talking about this for probably the last week, because there has been rumors, because there was the whole Ohtani going to Toronto.
Oh my goodness.
We were already talking about, okay, how do we get over to Toronto, go watch a game? Right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to change your background.
I am.
You're gonna have to get some Dodger blue.
I am.
Get yourself a New Jersey.
Because coming home from our sister's house, for the Christmas stuff. And of course, Mom was riding with me, and she was asking questions about it because she heard about it, but of course, Mom doesn't know. Anyways, I'm saying, basically, I became a Dodgers fan instantly, right?
Instantly.
Yeah, because Ohtani's my favorite player, has been
absolutely,
for a while. So he goes to the Dodgers, and it's like, okay, bye Angels, right? Like, I was only a fan because Ohtani was there. That's it. Now I'm going to be a Dodgers fan.
So now he's already online trying to find the first Dodger Ohtani and the Dodger uniform baseball card.
I already got it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It Topps Now. So Topps Now, of course, everybody knows Topps, but if you go to the website, Topps offers Topps Now for any of the current things happening, the current events or whatever. So when he got signed, of course, he doesn't have a picture of him with the Dodgers blue on or whatever, but they just photoshopped it more or less. But it's a real card, so yeah, it's not. I haven't gotten it yet. It's got to ship from Topps still, but yeah, I got it. It's there.
Well, that's one of the things. That's one of his endorsements for Ohtani is through Topps. Mm-hmm. Topps is one of his. Fanatics was another.
Fanatics owns Topps.
Oh, well, I didn't know that, but there you go. Okay. So, but yeah, he's already getting paid by those guys, and of course they're going to be the first ones to come out with a card. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm sure there's got to be an official signing. He's holding up the jersey at least. He might put one on, press conference card. That's going to happen soon, I would think. So,
I'll be over that one too.
Yep, and you're already going to be scouring the Dodgers nation for a Ohtani jersey.
I'm just waiting. I'll get one.
Well, I think we pretty much covered that. Like I said, we're gonna do what we can here. Obviously, our intro didn't work, so if our intro didn't work, I'm just gonna let you guys know now. The outro is not gonna work.
Right now, nothing's working, guys. We got
nothing is working. So we've got a message sent out and trying to get some technical support and make sure that stuff works for us.
We didn't want to wait any longer though. It's already been long enough, so just want to get something going. So that's why, like Steve said, no intro as we know outro. So we just have to end it more or less with the thanks, guys.
Peace.